it up, you came to get it drunk with a dame and shit it drunk. You came to get it on. More than 5 O's in your bank to get it on. Roll up like that thing can get it on. Like to fit it on. Came to get it on. Hold up, you wanna work that, twerk that. Let me in, let me hurt that, murk that. See you gotta hurt back. Can't spit it out, boo, you gotta slurp that. Can't cuddle after we doing it, wasn't worth that. So we am responsible for bringing dirt.
What's good, what's good, what's good? Welcome to the Ant Show. I'm your host, Inspector Ant. And as always, every week, I'm joined by my co-host, M. Bowden. M. Bowden, what's good with it?
What's good, world? What's good?
And on this week's episode, man, we're going to discuss Patrick Kane. Why has the Patrick Kane story received any attention? Also, we're going to talk about what should the NHL and the Chicago Blackhawks do about the situation. Plus, as we did last week, we'll continue to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Super Bowl by heading back down memory lane and recapping this week's Super Bowl rematches I talked about all throughout the season. The NFL, to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Super Bowl, the NFL is having Super Bowl rematches from previous Super Bowls. So every week, including the preseason and then also the same in the regular season, we're going to talk about each Super Bowl rematch that they're having, kind of recap that game. So we're going to do that as well today. And as always, you can follow us on Twitter at @ExpectorAnt. That's Expector underscore Ant. And also on Tumblr at @ExpectorAnt. But Tumblr is one word, just Expector Ant. And also, so you can subscribe to us on YouTube at AntWeezy. You can subscribe to us on iTunes as well. So look for us on iTunes. And right now we're in the process of coming out with an app. So once that's up and ready, we'll let y'all know about it, and you can make sure you download that as well. So, the topic of the day is Chicago Blackhawks star Patrick Kane. We're going to switch it up, talk a little hockey. We normally don't talk hockey on this show, but we're talking hockey today. And it's not for a positive reason either, as Patrick Kane is being accused of rape. And this is huge because not only is Patrick Kane one of the bigger stars in the NHL, but his team, the Chicago Blackhawks, just won the championship 2 months ago. So the Chicago Blackhawks are defending champions, and right now one of the biggest stars on your championship team is being accused of rape. So as the story goes, Bowden, is that Patrick Kane was at a bar in Buffalo, New York, and at this bar he met this girl. And so he invited the girl to come over to his house for some more drinks. Now the friend of the girl went with her to Patrick Kane's house because she said she didn't want her friend to go alone. Because they're beating Patrick Kane, he's a stranger, they don't know him, so she's like, okay, let me go with her. So therefore she won't go to this man's house alone. So while the girls were at Patrick Kane's house, they were there, they were drinking, having a good time. All of a sudden, the friend of the girl who was invited, that Patrick Kane invited to his house, her friend claims that Patrick Kane threw her on the floor, overpowered her, and then raped her. So this happened back in August 2nd. And the Buffalo Police Department has been doing an ongoing investigation of the situation. So the question I want to present, Bowden, is why do you think this story has not gained any stream nationally? Like I said, Patrick Kane is one of the biggest stars in the NHL. He's probably the second best player on his own team. Him and Jonathan Taves, they're like the 1-2 duo. Him and Jonathan Taves, like 1-2 duo on the Chicago Blackhawks. And so here you have, this is like Drew Brees being accused of rape. So why do you think this is not gaining like national steam? Like nobody's really talking about it. Me personally, I think if it was like an NFL player or NBA player, this would be headline news. Instead, for Patrick Kane, it's kind of like back page news. So why do you think that is, Bowden?
Maybe because the majority of the country, like me, I don't watch hockey. You know what I'm saying? But maybe people don't pay attention to it.
Yeah, I mean, because I know for you, since you don't watch hockey, you probably couldn't pick up Patrick Kane, if he was in a lineup.
That's right.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with you too, man. It shows that hockey really isn't that popular of a sport. I think it's safe to say that out of the excuse me, out of the four major sports, which is football, basketball, baseball, and hockey, I think it's safe to say that hockey is probably fourth as far as popularity goes. And I think I find it very interesting. Nobody's really talking about it. Now. Even though people haven't really talked about it, and technically he really hasn't been charged with anything. He has lost some endorsements. EA Sports, he's supposed to be on the cover of EA Sports NHL 16 video game. They decided to take him off the cover, and instead they're going to replace him with his teammate Jonathan Toews. So he's losing out on that money as EA Sports now distancing himself away from him. Patrick Kane's lost other endorsements as well, as a lot of people are backing off and don't even want to touch him with a 10-foot pole. So even though nobody's really talking about it, it's really messing up his reputation. And so the next question about it is that if you're the NHL or if you're the Chicago Blackhawks, what do you do about this situation?
I probably would suspend him with pay.
Suspended for what though? He hasn't been charged with anything. So far, these are just accusations.
Just accusations. But, if it's just accusations, I mean the police investigating, right?
Yeah, the Buffalo Police Department are investigating as we speak. But right now, this girl, she's claiming. All right, so here's the thing. These are questions that I want answered because this is what I'm curious about. So, the number one issue they have to figure out though is that if the friend, because the victim here is the quote unquote friend, she wasn't even invited to the house. Her homegirl was invited to the house. She just came along because she said she didn't want her homegirl to be alone. So she's supposed to be the quote-unquote protector. How the hell did she end up being alone with Patrick Kane? Patrick Kane originally wasn't even interested in her. So how does she be alone to where he decided he's going to rape her and not the girl that he originally wanted, which is her friend? So that I want to know as well. Because to me, that situation really isn't adding up. And then another thing that I have to answer, I'm interested about too, is that if he is charged with something, I agree with you about him. Go ahead and suspend him, because at that point, if he is charged, playing hockey is the least of his worries. To be honest with you, but if he's not charging anything, then I think they should just handle like the NBA did with Kobe Bryant, back in 2004, and just let him play out the season and see what happens. But like when you have these girls, claiming rape, though, it's always a tricky situation. Because, as we know, you don't know what's true, what's not true. And you don't know if these girls are just, making it up because they want money. I mean, it's always a tricky thing. Yeah, Bow, you still with us?
Oh yeah. I just hope for the best for him. Hope he keep his head up. Have he spoken out about it?
I know he's kept quiet for the most part. But I mean, do you have any questions at all about the girl's motives?
When it pertains to things like that, you have to get the full story. You have to get his side. There's two sides to every story.
Well, I mean, okay, just focus on her story though. That they were at a bar. They saw him. He was interested in her friend, and he wanted her friend to come back to his house with him. And she decided as a third wheel to join along because she didn't want her friend to go alone. And then all of a sudden, where they're at the one they get to his house, they start drinking and stuff, and all of a sudden, she claims that he raped her. Now, for me, my question is that he wasn't even interested in you in the beginning. He was interested in your friend. You were just the third wheel. So why all of a sudden will he just, be like, you know what, fuck the friend. I'm gonna rape you. So I mean, to me, there's some holes in her story. So based on her story, what's your take on it?
My take on it is, like from what she told me, like I said, I had to, he had to speak up and see. I had to see what he says, see his other side, cause see, he ain't saying anything.
Yeah, I mean, all thing he's saying is that he didn't do it.
Yeah, he said he didn't do it, but really can't really speak on it, cause I really don't know, but just from hearing it, sound like you said, it's holes in the story.
Yeah, because right now we're getting the victim side. So that's what I'm saying. Based on the victim, it's like, what's your take on it?
It's hard to say. It's hard to say because rape is one of them things like real tricky. You never know. You know what I'm saying? You never know. From what she said, it just sounded kind of weird. It just sounded weird to me. It sounded like, if he wanted the friend, but turn around and mess with the friend. You understand? If he wanted, so you telling me he was on a date with his girlfriend, right?
No, it wasn't even his girlfriend. So no, this is what happened. He was at the bar just chilling.
Just chilling.
So as he's at the bar, he sees this girl that he has his eyes on. He thinks she's cute or whatever. So he walks up to her. They start talking and start flirting and stuff like that. So he says, "Hey, how about we take this, back to the crib?"
Right. And
so the girl that he was flirting with, she was with another friend. And so the other friend, she was like, I really didn't want to go to Patrick Kane's house, but since my homegirl did, I decided to join along with them, kind of as a third wheel, because she didn't want her friend to go to his house alone. Not because, you don't know what this guy's capable of doing. This is a guy you just met at a bar. You don't know he could be a killer or whatever. So she decided, let me go with her so she wouldn't be alone. Then all of a sudden, the person that was supposed to be the third wheel, she's the one that claimed got raped. Now, where I want to me, where the holes are is that, not only has Patrick Kane not said anything, but according to her friend hasn't said anything either. And her friend, if anything, is a witness. So, based on what the victim is saying, is that, so based on what the victim is saying, that's what I'm saying, like, what's your take on it? Because my take on it is this, is that, A, he wasn't even interested in you at first. He was interested in your friend. You just joined along as a third wheel. So all of a sudden, what happened in between that made him change his mind and focus his attention on you and decide to rape you? Second of all, like you said, you want to hear Patrick Kane's side of the story. He hasn't really said anything other than the fact that, he didn't do it. Second and then third of all, since there was a third person in the equation, what was her take on what happened?
You gotta also think that alcohol involved, so sometimes they probably, what I'm saying, probably one thing led to another, and they, you probably consensual with one, but they all drunk and they wake up in the morning like, what did I do? You understand what I'm saying? Like that, and feeling guilt and shame and stuff. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand. I understand what you're saying, but then based on what you're saying, then, is that you think it's not rape then?
It is. I mean, it is. It's tricky. That's why it's hard to just say. You know what I'm saying? Because it's tricky. Because a person to do. When I ain't gonna say. When you drinking, you're drunk. Sometimes you tend to do things you wouldn't do if you were sober. That's on the male and female side. When you drinking, you in that situation. Sometimes things happen that you won't expect to happen. You wake up that morning, sober up, and you realize what you done did. Now, it may have been consensual. In his mind, he probably thinking consensual, but in her mind, she probably felt took advantage of. You never know. I'm just throwing things out there. I don't know the case. I had to hear his side of the story. You know what I'm saying? I just don't know. It's a 50-50 split because until I hear his side of the story, then I'd be like, okay. But by him just saying he didn't do it, I can't really even speak on it. For 1 year, I also know who me, I don't even know the guy. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just like a scenario. That's just a story. So, you have to know a person, MO, how the way he think, the way he act, do he have a past history of doing things like that? What is her past history? What kind of person she is? There's many factors. So I can't really just speak on it because I really don't have enough information just to speak on it.
Yeah, and that's we start out the conversation saying Bowden's really not a hockey fan, so he doesn't really know too much about Patrick Kane. I'm more of the hockey fan here.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, from what I understand though, back to Patrick Kane on his MO. From what I understand though, he's kind of like what we talked about last Super Ray Rice. Patrick Kane's pretty much been a squeaky clean dude.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about it in the news.
Yeah, and that's what I was asking you. That's why I start the show. I was asking the question though, why hasn't this not got enough steam? Because Patrick Kane is one of the bigger stars in the NHL, and now he's one of the bigger stars in the NHL. He's also part of Team USA for the during the Olympics for the Olympic team. So I mean, he's a huge star in the hockey world, and for something that's been going on now for 2 weeks, because the incident happened on the 2nd, nobody's really talking about it. And so to me that was kind of weird.
But he hasn't been formally charged yet, right?
No, right now the like I said, right now because this happened in Buffalo, New York. Even though he plays in Chicago, but this happened in Buffalo. He owns a home in Buffalo. Apparently, he's from there, and he hasn't been charged or anything yet. Now, actually, I take that back. Patrick Kane has not been squeaky clean. As a matter of fact, in 2009, him and his cousin were him and his cousin in Buffalo too. It's happened in Buffalo. So even though he plays in Chicago, Patrick Kane's originally from Buffalo, New York, and even though he now plays in Chicago, he still in the off season goes to Buffalo. And back in 2009, him and his cousin were arrested for assault and assault and theft. As they were charged with punching the cab driver, as the cab driver did not give them the proper change. They took a cab. The cab cost $15. The cab cost $14.80. Patrick Kane and his cousin gave the cab driver $15, and instead of the cab driver giving them their change, he refused to give them the change. So him and his cousin pretty much beat his ass and took the change. And that was back in 2009. So other than that, he's been squeaky. So since 2009, he's been squeaky clean up until this incident right now with the rape charges.
You think you did?
I don't know if, like I said, I'm not sure because there's stories. Like I said, there's holes in the girl's story, and like I said, there's 3 people involved here because we still have not heard from her friend. So I don't know. As far as Patrick Kane himself, my best bet is he needs to stay away from Buffalo. Because I know, like I said, I know he's from there, but it seems like every time he comes back to Buffalo, he gets in trouble. You need to just stay your ass in Chicago. That's it. Just stay in Chicago. If you want to see the family, have the family fly up to Chicago and see you, man. But I just think you need to keep your ass away from Buffalo. Especially since him and his cousin were wild, man. Just whooped the cab driver's ass and took their change.
He was charged. Was he convicted for that, or he played no?
Yeah, he was charged with 2nd-degree robbery, and fourth-degree criminal mischief, and he pled not guilty. But then he did apologize for the incident, saying that him and his cousin were at the wrong place at the wrong time. And him and his cousin were later on cleared of any charges. So both him and his cousin were cleared of any charges. So nothing really happened to him. But I'm just saying, though, it seems like every time he comes back home to Buffalo, he finds himself into some shit. That's what I'm saying. If I was him, I would just stay away from Buffalo. No, you play for Chicago. You live in Chicago. Just stay in Chicago. If the fam wants you to come and visit, you tell them to come to Chicago and visit you. You ain't going to Buffalo no more.
You're better from Buffalo.
Yes. Now, actually, the owner of the bar where they were at, Mark Croce, he's the owner of the bar where they're at. So he told the cops, because obviously he's being a witness, even though he can't really speak on what happened at the house. But from what happened at the bar, he said that the women were all over Patrick Kane. They came on to Patrick Kane. They were flirting with him. They said they were hanging all over him. These girls were just throwing themselves out at him. So if that's the case, that kind of changes the narrative of the girl's story. Like I said, this happened at the bar. So the owner of the bar always said what he witnessed at the bar. You can't really speak on what happened at the house. But if these girls are throwing themselves at him, then if they're throwing themselves at him at the bar, who's to say that they didn't throw themselves at him when they're at the house? No, because he might be thinking like, well, shit, but they're throwing titties in my face. I might as well just stick dick in them.
Yeah, okay. But I'm just saying, I just hate he put I hate he put himself in that situation. Yeah, but hopefully he'll get up out of this, But it's one of them things like, if he did it, and if he didn't do it good, but you never know. When alcohol and all that's in the mix, but you never know. Though I just can't really just.
Yeah, because that's the thing is that they were drinking at the bar, obviously. Then you go back to the crib and you drinking some more. Because there's no telling how fucked up they were before they even left the bar.
So it's kind of hard to pick sides on who did what, because sometimes you never know. Things happen, but before I can't judgment on anybody, I just wait till all the information come up.
Well, even though he hasn't been charged or anything, and even though we still don't have all the information out, how do you feel about him losing all his endorsements?
I feel like that about every athlete that are accused, so I feel like that, even with Bill Cosby, I feel that, they don't even be doing that. Like, I feel like that,
you feel like you should be innocent to proven guilty instead of being proven guilty. Instead of being guilty into proven innocent.
That's right. My whole thing is written. It is written. So why we don't live and abide by that? Why we gotta? What I'm saying? It's not like unless everybody. Every once in a while, some people, have little bumps on the road. Even Martha Stewart had a bump on the road. You know what I'm saying? So, but to take a person's endorsement without knowing the outcome of whatever he was accused of, I think that's wrong. You know what I'm saying? But I guess that's how it goes. Just like with Kobe lost his Sprite endorsement. He lost all that endorsement when he got in trouble with his rape charge.
Yeah, and then he got it back after You know, after he was proven innocent, I guess.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I don't like the way I don't like the way they just take. But that's that's business. You understand? That's just business. It's business.
Yeah, but there's some people like Tiger Woods who honestly didn't even commit a crime. He still hasn't. He lost everything. He still hasn't gotten it back yet.
You know what I'm saying? But I think that's bad business, right? Because that's just bad business. They take personal endorsements like that just up for accusation. It wasn't like Tiger Woods raped anybody. He just messed around on his wife. But I mean, which is a bad thing. For the ladies, that's bad. But it's not no crime. It'd be more like he was out here just raping folk. Then I'm like, okay, yeah, he did bad. You gonna lock him up too, but he wasn't charged with any crime. But yeah, I mean, but that's just business. That's business. I guess I can't speak on that. What you think?
No, I agree 100% with that. I don't think they should lose their endorsements and have everything taken away from them. Especially like right now, like Patrick Kane. These are just allegations. Now, nothing's been proven yet.
Hope for the best for both of
them. Yeah. I mean, the good thing for Patrick Kane is at least the Chicago Blackhawks are seeming to they seem to have his back. They're supporting him. So that's the good thing for now. Anyway, for him. Obviously, if it comes out that he did it, then it looks bad for Chicago. But for right now, at least the team has his back. Backing him up. As far as the NHL is concerned, because a lot of people are trying to figure out what the NHL should actually do about the situation. And for me personally, I don't think the NHL should do anything for right now. Until we get all the facts and we see how it plays out, I think he should just go ahead and be able to play this upcoming season. It just sucks for the NHL because this ain't the publicity that you want, especially with the team that he plays for. Like I said, his team just won the championship, so it's kind of like a black eye for the league. But at the same time, like I said, he hasn't been charged with anything yet. The Buffalo Police Department is still doing an ongoing investigation, and we'll just see how it all plays out. But like I said, if I'm the Blackhawks anyway, or if I'm just somebody in this inner circle, I'll just tell them like, look, you need to stay away from Buffalo. I understand you grew up there. I understand your family lives there. But it seems like every time you go to Buffalo, you find yourself in some shit. And so it just might be best for him to stay away from Buffalo.
Stay away from Buffalo.
So yeah, that's pretty much my take on it. And we're going to see how it all plays out. And another thing I want to talk about, and I know this is off subject, but it's an interesting story. So our 29th president, Warren G. Harding, had an affair back in the 1910s. And the person he had an affair with got pregnant, had a baby. And this person wrote a book about it back in the 1920s when Warren G. Harding was president. And Warren G. Harding was only president for 2 years before he died. Back then, presidents would die in office. And now I think I don't even know who the last president. I think the last president that died in office was John F. Kennedy. But even though Warren G. Harding was only president for 2 years and he died in office, he's still considered one of the most popular presidents in American history. But anyway, so yeah, he had an affair with his secretary. She got pregnant, had a baby. She claims that no, that baby was Warren G. Hardy's child. Her daughter was Warren G. Hardy's child. And back in the 1920s, to have a baby out of wedlock, that's like you're like the Scarlet Witch. You usually have like an S on your chest, the Scarlet Letter. That's like taboo back in those days. So she took a lot of heat for it, took a lot of shit for it, and now here we find out 90 years later about him that she was telling the truth, that her daughter is a Warren G. Harding's baby. As now with DNA testing and stuff like that. And now it's a big story here in the United States because, like I said, this woman took a lot of heat for it back in the day. And come to find out, she's telling the truth. And so what's your thoughts on, Warren G. Harding, love child?
He ain't the first one.
He ain't the first one, but, back in the 1920s, it was taboo, and his secretary took a lot of heat for it because obviously he denied it, and back then there was no DNA testing. But she was emphatic that, hey, my daughter, man, this is no Warren G. Harding's love child. Warren G. Harding's like, nah, I never slept with her. Nah, I'm faithful to my wife. Blah blah blah. And come to find out, 90 years later, the woman was telling the truth.
But Bill Clinton, he got a child out there.
Allegedly, hasn't been proven yet. Hasn't been proven yet.
Look him up. Look him up.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but no, I don't want us to throw stuff out there, and we don't know if it's true or not. It's been proven to be true. They're just allegations. But but it wouldn't be surprising me as much as Bill Clinton was screwing around. It wouldn't surprise me.
I think we all human, man. We all make mistakes. I don't care how low you is. Everybody, we all human. Without laws and orders, we have children by any old. Like the animals. That will separate us from the animals. Law and order. Principles, morals, and rules, Bibles, Quran, Torah.
Yeah, now Warren G. Harding, he is considered one of the worst presidents in American history. Even though he was only president for a short amount of time, like I said, he died in office. But out of 44 presidents, he is ranked 41st. So he's ranked pretty low.
So who 42nd?
Okay, in the presidential rankings of worst presidents of all time.
Right.
All right. Let's see. Well, number one. The number one president of all time, based on the rankings, is Abraham Lincoln. So Abraham Lincoln is considered the greatest president in American history. Number two, you have George Washington. Number three, you have Franklin D. Roosevelt. Number four, you have Ronald Reagan. Number five, you have Teddy Roosevelt. Number six, you have Woodrow Wilson. Number seven, you have Martin Van Buren. Number 8, you have James Monroe. Number 9, you have James Pollock. Number 10, you have Thomas motherfucking Jefferson. Number 11, you have Andrew Jackson. Number 12, you have let's see, who's number 12? Oh yeah, number 12, you have no. Where am I at in this damn list? Number 12, you have Eisenhower, Dwight Eisenhower, excuse me. Number 13, you have Rutherford Hayes. I don't even remember Rutherford Hayes as president. So he was number 13. Number 14, you have Lyndon B. Johnson. At 15, you have John F. Kennedy. At 16, you have at 16, you have Grover Cleveland. At 17, you have William McKinley. At 18, you have John Quincy Adams. At 19, you have his daddy, John Adams. At number 20, you have Herbert Hoover. At number 21, you have William Taft. At 22, at number 22, you have at number 22, you have Chester A. Arthur. At number 23, you have Gerald Ford. At 24, you have Bill Clinton. At 25, you have George Bush Jr. At 26, you have Calvin Coolidge. At 27, you have Harry Truman, who blew up half of Japan. And then at 28, you have Barack Obama. No, take it back. At 28, you have Richard Nixon. So Richard Nixon at 28. At 29, the 29th greatest president of all time, you have Ulysses Grant. He was the 29th greatest president of all time. The 30th greatest president of all time was James Buchanan. At 31, you have Franklin Pierce. At 32, you have Millard Fillmore, who, as a trivia question, he is the last independent president we've ever had. He was the 13th president. After Millard Fillmore, we've only had Democrats and Republicans as president. So he was 32. Then at 33, Benjamin Harrison, that's the 33rd greatest president of all time. At the 34th greatest president of all time, you have Who was number 34? 34th greatest president of all time is John Taylor. Even though John Taylor, to me, is not fair because he was only president. No, I'll take it back. That's a different guy. Yeah, so John Taylor's 34th. Number 35 is William Harrison. And to me, William Harrison is not fair because he was only president for 1 month and he died. So it's not really fair to rank him, but he's the 35th greatest president of all time. The 36th greatest president of all time is George Bush Sr. He's 36. 37, you have the 37th greatest president of all time. You have James Madison. That's 37. 38 was now we get into the bottom 5 here. Yeah, so 38 you have 38 you have Andrew Johnson. That's 38th greatest president of all time. 39th you have your boy Jimmy Carter. And then 40th you have Barack Obama. And then 41st greatest of all time, you have 41st greatest president of all time, you have Warren G. Harding. And then 42nd would be Grover Cleveland. Grover Cleveland was president twice. He was the 22nd and 24th. So those are your presidents right there.
Interesting, man, that Abraham Lincoln is best president of all time. But who rated this? Is this like who?
These are voted by different like political analysts. Like you had guys from like Newsweek, Time Magazine, C-SPAN. But see, to me, what I don't like about these polls though, and these rankings, is that like, how the fuck can you say George Washington was the second greatest president of all time when nobody was even alive when George Washington was president?
You know, I guess they look at his, for him to be the first president, he was a war hero, he was a general, got so many stories on George Washington.
Yeah, cause I mean, like, anybody who's done these votings, man, they can only vote on, depending on how old you are, pretty much Nixon on down.
Yeah, Nixon on down, pretty much. I mean, my whole thing, like, you had to really, like, to me, I mean, there's a lot of history. We got a lot of history. We got his documents on almost every president, but to be alive or to be like in the 20th or the 21st century, and that's what we living in.
Now, I was surprised that Bush Jr. was like in the middle of the pack. He was like in the middle.
125.
Yeah, while his daddy was like on the bottom.
Yeah.
But I'm not the one person I'm not surprised about though is Ronald Reagan. He's number 3.
Reaganomics, knocking down that wall.
Yeah, so those are the ones I'm not surprised about. Ronald Reagan, I'm not surprised that he's in the top 3, and Jimmy Carter, I'm not surprised that he's in the top. He's in the bottom like 4. But I will say this: I am surprised that Obama is ranked 40th though.
He did a lot. He did a lot for the country, He did a lot.
Well, not for the people that made these votings. But then again, it's kind of subjective because even with Barack Obama, I mean, depending on who you are, Obama's did a lot. Depending on who you are, you might not agree with what Obama's done.
Right. It's a 50-50 split. But, yeah. I mean, he must have did something right. They re-elected him. You know? Put him on back in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then again, the last one-term president we had was George Bush Sr.
George Bush Sr., yeah.
Now, he's the only president. He's the only president in the last 30 years that has not got reelected. But yeah, man. So, go ahead, Bowden.
I said, in my eyes, say one of the greatest presidents was Ike.
Oh, Dwight Eisenhower.
Yeah, that dude was bad, man. Yeah, man, right. When I say that, I mean the Joker was in the military.
Yeah, he fought in World War II.
General, fought in World War II, was in NATO. I think he was the commander of NATO. I believe he was.
Yeah, but see, though, just because he has a great, military record doesn't mean he's a great president. No, it just shows that he's a badass motherfucker, man. But it don't mean he's great. It don't mean he was a great president. But see, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, to me, it's subjective because, like, you talk about Dwight Eisenhower, he was the president back in the 50s. No, I mean, my mama wasn't even born back then. So, and it's like even for me and you. In our lifetime, the only presidents we've really had 5 presidents. That's Ronald Reagan, Bush Sr., Clinton, Bush Jr., and now Obama. And even for me anyway, because I'm a little bit younger than you, I can't really speak too much on Reagan and Bush Sr. because I was too young. So for me, the only ones I can really speak on is Clinton, Bush Jr., and Obama. So it's like for me, it's hard for me to even vote based on all the other presidents. I wasn't alive back then. Like even now with Barack Obama, even though he's ranked 40th, but it's like depending on who you ask, if you're gay or lesbian, you think of Barack Obama as the greatest motherfucker to ever live. But if you're more conservative, you're looking at Barack Obama like, what the fuck is this nigga doing? So I mean, it just depends on who you are. And so you can pretty much say the same thing about all presidents.
It's all about your agenda. It's all about your preference. It's all about your preference. Whatever, what side of the fence you stand on. Or what side of the grand, right side of the dog, right side, the left side, whatever, whatever your preference. But since almost every president was hated, man.
Well, that's my point though. Is that you could say that for them to do this rank, like for example, they ranked Abraham Lincoln number 1, but it's like, back then, if you want to be real with it, Abraham Lincoln wasn't all that popular because if Abraham Lincoln was doing a good job, then the South wouldn't have separated from the Union. And what's fucked up about it is that Abraham Lincoln was from the South. He was from Kentucky. And they still, separated from his ass. They wanted nothing to do with him. So they separated from the Union. Now, granted, the Union won, and we all know what happened, how it played out. But then even after the Civil War, he got shot the shit out of. They killed his ass. So, I mean, it's hard to... we can look back now in history and say, okay, he freed the slaves, and all he helped win the Civil War, so therefore he's the greatest president of all time. But it's like we weren't living back then. That was back in the 1800s. We weren't alive. Nobody was alive back then. So it's like it's really hard to judge. The only person that can really judge is the oldest woman on earth who lives in New Jersey. She's 110 years old, and she was born. She lived through World War I, World War II, all that. Like when she was born, Teddy Roosevelt was president. So she can pretty much speak on Teddy Roosevelt, on down. But I mean, for most of these people who do these votings and stuff, they can't really speak on it because ain't nobody was alive back then. So I mean, like I said, it's easy to look at it now. But I mean, if you want to really look at history, it wasn't like people just in love with Abraham Lincoln at that time. And the same thing, with like I said, now with Obama. Depending on which way you lean, if you're more liberal, then you think Obama's probably the greatest president ever. Especially if you're part of the LGBT community, Obama's the greatest thing that ever happened to you. But like I said, if you're more conservative, you're looking at Barack Obama like, what the fuck are you doing? So I mean, it just depends on who you are. And like I said, you said something about every president we ever had, including Bush Jr. But yeah, man. So I thought that Warren G. Hardy story was kind of interesting. That now with technology and everything else, we're able to determine that baby that was born 90 years ago was actually indeed his daughter, even though he denied it until the day he died. And that his secretary took hell for it because, like I said, back then it was taboo to have babies out of wedlock. So I thought it was an interesting story. But now we're gonna head back to sports. And we did this last week, and like I said last week, we're gonna do this all throughout the year. So as everybody knows, this is the 50th anniversary of the Super Bowl this upcoming year, and to celebrate that, the NFL has decided that throughout the season, they're gonna have different Super Bowl rematches throughout the year to celebrate the 50th year anniversary. So, like yesterday, for example, the NFL had a rematch of Super Bowl 48, and this upcoming week we're gonna see a rematch of Super Bowl 34 between the Rams and the Titans, and also a rematch of Super Bowl 41 between the Bears and the Colts. So all throughout the season, there are going to be different Super Bowl rematches to celebrate the golden anniversary of the Super Bowl. And so what we're going to do to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Super Bowl is that each week, we're going to recap each rematch. So for like last week, for example, they had the Steelers versus the Vikings. So what we did is we went back into time. We went back to 1974, and we broke down Super Bowl 9. And we're going to do the same thing this week, as the NFL's having 3 Super Bowl rematches. So, Bowden, you ready to hit that time machine?
Let's go, Marty. Let's go. I'm coming with you, I'm coming for you. You don't do nothing else. Back to the future.
We about to set this one right. We about to do this for all the kids, the mothers, the fathers, the brothers, the sisters. The regular
Alright, so we're gonna hit the year 1999. Bowden's favorite decade, the 90s. And 1999 was pretty much the year of Lauryn Hill. It seemed like every month this woman was coming out with a new hit every month. Like 99 was just her year. And she even won I think 8 or 9 Grammys that year too. Lauryn Hill was just killing it. Now it's kind of weird because that was her first and only album. Lauryn Hill, after 1999, Lauryn Hill just fell off the face of the earth. But 1999, that was her year. So we're gonna head back to 1999, and we're gonna talk about Super Bowl 34. And Super Bowl 34 was between the NFC champion St. Louis Rams and the AFC champion Tennessee Titans. And in my opinion, this is one of the greatest Super Bowls of all time. This Super Bowl took place in Atlanta, Georgia. As so far, this is the second Super Bowl to take place in Atlanta, and up to this point, the last Super Bowl to take place in Atlanta. As the first Super Bowl to take place in Atlanta was Super Bowl 28 between the Cowboys and the Bills. So the Rams, they entered their second Super Bowl in franchise history with a 13-3 record. As the last time the Rams made it to the Super Bowl was in 1979 when they were the Los Angeles Rams. It was their first time going to the Super Bowl as the St. Louis Rams. It was also the first time the Rams went to the playoffs as St. Louis. As the last time the Rams went to the playoffs was in 1989 and they were still in Los Angeles. As we all know, the Rams left Los Angeles in 1995. And now they might be heading back next year. Also, too, you had the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee Titans finished the regular season 13-3 as they were a wild card team that year. Even though they had a 13-3 record, they were only a wild card team that year because Jacksonville had the best record in the NFL at 14-2. As Tennessee made it to the Super Bowl for the first time in franchise history. So for the Tennessee Titans, they were, I won't really call them a new team, but they were the Houston Oilers. And that season they moved from Houston to Tennessee and became the Tennessee Titans. And lo and behold, they moved to Tennessee. The team all of a sudden got good and went to the Super Bowl. Funny how that happens. So, Super Bowl 34 battle was mostly a defensive battle. It was 9-0 at halftime. Despite the fact that the Rams outgained the Titans 294 yards compared to just 89 yards for the Titans. So all thing the Rams could score was just 3 field goals. And then the Rams scored their first touchdown midway through the third quarter to go up 16-0. And then Tennessee responded by scoring 16 straight points. And then with 2 minutes left to go in the game, Kurt Warner hit Isaac Bruce with a 73-yard touchdown pass to give the Rams a 23-16 lead. 23-16 lead. Then Steve McNair led Tennessee all the way down into field goal. Led Tennessee all the way down the field. They got it to the St. Louis 10-yard line with a chance to score and tie the game and send it to overtime. Then Rams linebacker Mike Jones made probably the greatest play in Super Bowl history. So Tennessee Titans wide receiver Kevin Dyson ran a slant pattern. So the way the play went was that Kevin Dyson was going to run the slant. Tight end Frank Wycheck was going to hit the post. Now, the whole point was to get the linebacker Mike Jones focusing on the tight end. Focus on the tight end, and then and that would leave Kevin Dyson wide open in the slant. So Steve McNair hit Kevin Dyson with the slant, and then Mike Jones missed the tackle at the 1-yard line. So I'm gonna play the clip, and we're gonna have DeMarco Farr, who was a defensive lineman of the St. Louis Rams at that time, head coach Dick Vermeil, explain it in their very own words.
This is what he's doing for us. You see what that guy's doing for us? He's getting killed for us so we can win, to put us in a better position to win.
A minute and 54 seconds away. A minute. The only way they can beat us is throw it and his ass scrambling.
The Rams needed to stop Titans quarterback Steve McNair. On 3rd and 5 with 22 seconds to play, they could not.
Now steps back, rolls left, rolls right, in bad trouble back at the 40. He gets away somehow, fires downfield, there's Dyson. Dyson at the timeout. Ball timeout. Kevin Carter!
We had just played 8 snaps of gung-ho, balls-out football. And that was all we had. Everybody was out of gas.
Hey, you went out of the game with 26 seconds to go? You went out of the game with 26 seconds to go? Jay! Come on, back up. Woo! Back up.
And he looked at me right after he said that, and I about threw up on him. Really, I couldn't walk.
After the Titans' final timeout, Kevin Carter, DeMarco Farr, and the defense returned to the field.
So it all comes down to this. 6 seconds to play.
Well, I have a very low pulse. It's about 48. At about that time, it was 3 times that.
All right, guys. Last play of the game.
McNair will work out of the shotgun.
The first thing on my mind was, please don't run. Because if he runs, there's nobody out there that's going to catch him. When he let that ball go, there was a sense of relief. My God, thank you. We got a shot.
McNair drops, throws right side for Nyson. He dives for the end zone.
Reaches to the goal line. No, he falls at the 1.
Didn't make it. Didn't make it. No. No. Yes, yes. We won it. Woo-hoo. That's the game. It's over. It's over. We're world champions. Coach, congratulations.
That's it. St. Louis, the gateway to the West, is now the gateway to the best football team in the world.
All right, so that was the Rams. Pretty much, just talking about that final 6 seconds in their own words, as Tennessee fell 1 yard short, as Kurt Warner was named. That play was now called the tackle. It was played by Mike Jones. Who? Mike Jones. And Kurt Warner, he was named Super Bowl MVP. He set a Super Bowl record, which still stands today, with 414 yards passing. He had 2 touchdowns, and is a 414 yards passing, still a Super Bowl record. And his 45 pass attempts with no interceptions is still a Super Bowl record that still stands today. As Kurt Warner became only the 6th player to win NFL MVP and Super Bowl MVP in the same season, as he joined Bart Starr, Terry Bradshaw, Joe Montana, Emmitt Smith, and Steve Young. And to this day, Kurt Warner is still the last player to win both in the same year. So about in 1999, man, your year, your decade. What's your thoughts on Super Bowl 34?
My rhymes is heavy, like the mind of Sister Betty. Boogie spars with stars and constellations. Then came down for a little conversation. Adjacent to the king, fear no human being. Roll the cherubims to the Saw Coliseum. Now hear this mixture where hip hop meets scripture. Develop a
It wasn't Eddie George, it was the wide receiver Kevin Dyson. Yeah. Yeah, me too. So I remember that year, man. I was rooting for Tennessee as well. I'm not really a fan of neither team, but for that year I was really rooting hard for Tennessee because, like, I just felt, Eddie George and all that, but Steve McNair, there was something about that team that year. I just fell in love with them, and I just wanted to see them go all the way, because that year, like the Rams that year, they were like one everybody expected them to be there, kind of, because Rams had such a great season. Tennessee, they're the one that kind of took everybody by surprise. They were the underdogs. And me personally, I kind of root for the underdogs. I was really going for Tennessee, and it was really heartbreaking, man, to see them fall 1 yard short. Yeah, even though he had a bad game in the Super Bowl, man, Tennessee did a really great job of shutting him down. Yeah. He died 6 years ago, 2009. But back to 99 though. Back to 99 in the Super Bowl, man. Yeah, man, that was Well, yeah, it said 90s, man. Every year was a good year for me. Now, Tennessee, they lost the Super Bowl, man. They were 1 yard short. Seattle last year fell 1 yard short. Which one was worse, the way Tennessee lost or the way Seattle lost? See, I think Seattle was worse because
Seattle worse because they could have ran it up.
Yeah, they could have ran up the middle. I think Tennessee, it was different because they were at the 10-yard line. Now, Steve McNair threw a great pass. It was a great play. And unfortunately for the Rams, unfortunately for the Titans, the linebacker just made a hell of a play, made a great tackle, and Kevin Dyson got tackled at the 1-yard line. Seattle, on the hand, they had the ball at the 1-yard line. All they had to do was run it. Now they had the ball. They also had 2 timeouts left, so they could have ran it. If they didn't get it in, they could still use their timeout. To me, I think they just made a bad decision, and it's unfortunate the ball got intercepted. Like I said, Tennessee was a little different because they had the ball at the 10-yard line, and they needed 10 yards to score, and they got 9. Unfortunately, they couldn't get that last yard. Seattle was at the 1, and that's all they needed was just 1 yard, and they couldn't get it. But but back to 1999 and Super Bowl 34. I think man, it was a heartbreaking Super Bowl. Like I said, I was like down. I rooted for Tennessee that year, and it was unfortunate they didn't get it. Now I know one people who are happy. The one city that was happier than St. Louis that Tennessee lost was Houston. I know that it sucked, man. The team leaves Houston, moves to Tennessee, and that year they go to the Super Bowl. Like, if I'm Houston, I'm like, what the fuck? How could they do that shit when it was here? Yeah, Houston Oilers. Then 3 years later, Houston was able to get a new team, so I guess everything worked out. But I could just imagine being a Houston Oilers fan back in the day. Like, the team leaves, goes to Tennessee, becomes the Titans, and that same year, they go to the Super Bowl. You must be thinking like, damn, like, why could they couldn't do that shit when they was here in Houston? Yeah. Well, according to that clip I just played, with DeMarco Farr of the Rams, who's a defensive player, he was pretty much said, like, we couldn't stop Steve McNair in that game. So that's all he said, like, that last play, they was hoping, like, man, I just hope Steve McNair does not run this ball, because if he runs it, man, we can't catch him. And unfortunately for St. Louis, man, Steve McNair threw it, and was able to make it stop at the 1-yard line. Even though Steve McNair had a great game, I think that Tennessee would have won. Eddie George would have been MVP. Eddie George had like 2 touchdowns in that game. Eddie George did admit that he refused, even though it's been 16 years, he refuses to watch this game. He has not watched this game yet. It just hurts that bad for him.
I like the way he turns the ring past.
Well, now this game, Marshall, like I said, Marshall Faulk really didn't do anything in this game. Tennessee did a really good job of shutting them down. This game was all about Kurt Warner, what he was able to do. And Kurt Warner has to be like one of the greatest stories of all time, because this is a guy who was, working at the grocery store, and all of a sudden, like a couple years later, he's playing in the Super Bowl. As Kurt Warner set, the passing record in this game, and here we are 16 years later, and that record still has not been broken yet. Kurt Warner's record. And I was actually, go ahead, Bob. No, he's not. He's not in the Hall of Fame yet. But out of all the legendary quarterbacks that played in the Super Bowl, like, you would think Kurt Warner would be the last person you would think would have a record like that. Yeah, like I said, not even. Hey, go ahead. No, he's kind of like a forgotten quarterback. Yeah, like I said earlier, man, 1999 was the year of Lauryn Hill for music. For football, 1999, that was Kurt Warner's year. There you have it, man. Super Bowl 34. And to me, that's one of the greatest Super Bowls of all time. It has to be definitely up there, I think, top 3 in my opinion. You agree with that, Bowden?
I agree.
All right, man. So, yeah, let's head back into that time machine.
Let's go, Marty. Let's go.
I throwing you off?
Nope.
Didn't think so.
How you doing, young lady? The feeling that you're giving really drives me crazy. You don't have a play about the choke. I was at a loss for word first time that we spoke.
You're looking for a girl that'll treat you right. You're looking for in the daytime with the light.
You might be the type if I play my cards right. I'll find out by the end of the night.
You expect me to just let you hit it, but will you still respect me if you get it?
All I can do is try, give me one chance. What's the problem? I don't see the ring on your hand. I'll be the first to admit it. I'm curious about you. You seem so innocent.
You wanna get in my world, get lost in it. Boy, I'm tired of running. Let's walk for a minute.
Promiscuous girl, whatever you are, I'm all alone, and it's you that I want.
Promiscuous boy, you already know that I'm all yours.
All right, so we're gonna head to the year 2006. This is when Bowden and I was in college. And 2006 we had the Super Bowl 41 between the AFC champion Indianapolis Colts and the NFC champion Chicago Bears. And my mom, she's a huge diehard Chicago Bears fan. Because of that, I've always had a soft spot for the Bears. And this game for me was kind of heartbreaking because I was rooting for the Bears. The Colts won. Now, this Super Bowl Bowden broke a lot of precedents. First of all, this game featured 2 of the longest Super Bowl droughts in NFL history. Colts were back in the Super Bowl for the first time in 36 years, while the Chicago Bears were back in the Super Bowl for the first time in 21 years. So it's been a long-ass time since neither one of these teams went to the Super Bowl. Before 2006, the Colts had not been to the Super Bowl since 1970, and back when they were the Baltimore Colts. And the Chicago Bears, this is their first Super Bowl appearance since 1985 when you were born. So it was a long time for both teams. Also, too, Super Bowl 41 also made it the closest distance between the two teams to ever play each other in the Super Bowl, as Chicago and Indianapolis always separated by 90 miles. Only 90 miles away from each other. So this is the closest proximity between two teams in Super Bowl history. Also, too, Chicago Bears coach Lovie Smith and Indianapolis Colts coach Tony Dungy became the first 2 black coaches to coach in the Super Bowl. So whoever won obviously was going to make history, because whoever won was become the first black coach to win the Super Bowl. Also, too, this is the first Super Bowl to be played in bad weather, as it was pouring down rain in Miami. The Super Bowl 41 was played in Miami that year, and it was raining. It was raining all night. I remember they questioned if Prince was even do his performance at halftime. But the Chicago Bears had jumped out to an early 14-6 lead in the first quarter, and then after that, the Colts dominated the rest of the game, outscoring the Bears 23-3. Also, too, Chicago took the earliest lead in Super Bowl history when Devin Hester ran off the opening kickoff for a touchdown. But that record was broken in Super Bowl 48, 7 years later. The Indianapolis Colts, they forced 5 turnovers, including Kelvin Hayden's 56-yard interception return for a touchdown. Adam Vinatieri made 3 kicks, made 3 field goals. Peyton Manning was named MVP, even though I didn't think he deserved to be MVP. Peyton Manning had 247 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. For me personally, I thought running back Dominic Rhodes should have been the MVP of this game, because the Bears just could not stop him. As Dominic Rhodes had, what would Dominic Rhodes have? Let me look at his stats. Yeah, he had 113 yards rushing in this game. But yet they gave the MVP to Peyton Manning. I don't think he really deserved it, but it is what it is. So the Colts end up winning the game 29-17, as the Colts win their second championship in franchise history. The Colts won their second championship in franchise history.
Nope.
So about it, man. 2006. What's your thoughts on Super Bowl 41? Yeah, I remember me and you watched the game, and we had we ordered a pizza, and we had some beers. I think so. Yeah, I think it was I think we were in. I think it was our freshman year. Yeah, we were watching the game, and like I said, the Bears had got off to an early lead, and after that they just started fucking up, and then the Colts won the game. Yeah, I mean, for me, I was rooting for the Bears as well. Like I said, my mama, she's a hardcore Chicago Bears fan, and so because I have a soft spot for the Bears, even to this day, like I still root for the Bears. And unless they're playing the Cowboys, of course, when they're playing the Cowboys, I go for the Cowboys, but I still root for the Bears because it's my mama's team. You know, I gotta ask her why she like the Bears so much. She ain't even from Chicago, she's from New York, but she loves the Chicago Bears for some reason. Walter Payton was her favorite player growing up. So I was rooting for the Bears in this game. I remember my mama called me after the game because she was disappointed Chicago lost. But the Colts, man, they just took it to him in this game, and it was a huge win for him. And I was happy for Tony Dungy, man, because his son committed suicide in 2005, and then a year later he was able to win the Super Bowl. So I was happy for him. But other than that, man, I was disappointed the Bears lost. Troy was going for the Colts.
Don't be mad, don't get me.
Don't get mad, don't get me.
Hey, don't be mad, don't get me. Wait, I don't mean no harm. I can see you on my t-shirt on.
See you with nothing on. Feeling on me if we bring that on.
Bring that on.
You know what I mean?
Shout out to him, man. What's up, roommate?
I'm trying to get inside of your brain. See if you can work me the way you say.
It's okay, it's all
Yeah, man, these two Super Bowls that we talked about, man, not really good times for us because we were rooting for the teams that lost. But Tennessee, I gotta admit, Tennessee was more heartbreaking than this one because Chicago, I'm glad I got the ass for it, to be honest with you. But it was just like I said, it was just mind blowing to me though, remembering this game, because Chicago got off to such a great start, and then all of a sudden, man, you like this. I swear to God, man, this game, Chicago was winning, but they ran off the opening kickoff for a touchdown. I remember how excited me and you were, man, jumping down and shit, like damn, you know what I'm saying? These dudes just scored, took the opening kick and just ran it back for a touchdown, and Chicago got to a hot start, and then all of a sudden, man, you leave to take a piss, you come back, and Chicago getting the ass. What the hell just happened? Alright, but that's Super Bowl 41. And so, yeah, man, the Colts beat the Bears in Super Bowl 41, 29-17. And, it was great memories for Bowden and I, in college. But as far as the game itself, it wasn't that interesting. And especially if you're a Bears fan, or like Dowd and I, we're not really Bears fans, but we're rooting for the Bears in this game. It wasn't all that great of a game. It was not a great of an experience. The best thing about this game for us was the beer and the pizza. There you have it. It's 2006. So Bowden, man, we ready to hit that time machine once again. Alright, so we're gonna take it back to more recent times. We're gonna head back to the year 2013. And 2013 was an okay year for me personally. I don't know about you, Bob. Yeah, so 2013. That was 2012. Yeah. Yeah, so 2013, man, was Super Bowl 48 between the AFC champion Denver Broncos and the NFC champion Seattle Seahawks. And Seattle just whooped Denver's ass pretty much. This game took place in New York. First Super Bowl played in New York. And Seattle has set a bunch of records in this game. They were the first team to score 40 points or more while holding their opponent to under 10. They're the first team to score 40 points in the Super Bowl since the Dallas Cowboys did it in Super Bowl 27. Also, the Seattle's 35-point victory was the largest blowout in the Super Bowl since Super Bowl 27. It's actually the third largest blowout in Super Bowl history. Only Super Bowl 24 between the 49ers and the Broncos, and Super Bowl 20 between the Bears and the Patriots were bigger blowouts than Super Bowl 48. And in this game, Seattle pretty much beat their ass. Seattle, they went up 22-0 at halftime. By the time the third quarter was over, it was 36-0. And Seattle, they just dominated their ass. Just beat the shit out of them. Seattle scored the first play of the game. Seattle scored a safety, which was the quickest score in Super Bowl history, breaking the Bears record in Super Bowl 41. Peyton Manning didn't do a damn thing in this game. And this game was surprising because Seattle had the number one defense. Denver had the number one offense. The last time that happened was Super Bowl 37 when Oakland had the number one offense. Tampa Bay had the number one defense. And just like in Super Bowl 37 where the defense whooped the number one offense's ass, in this game the number one defense whooped the number one offense's ass once again. So history pretty much has repeated itself. And for Seattle, they scored a safety to start the game. The quickest score in Super Bowl history. Was also the first time that the first score was a safety in the Super Bowl. Seattle, they scored a touchdown on Seattle scored on a touchdown on defense, offense, and special teams. They're the first team in Super Bowl history to do all three. Also, Peyton Manning threw 2 interceptions in the game. Linebacker Malcolm Smith returned one of those touchdowns, 69 yards for a touchdown, and recovered a fumble. And he had 9 tackles, as Malcolm Smith became the first linebacker since Ray Lewis in Super Bowl 35 to be named Super Bowl MVP. Now, even though this game was a blowout, this game was actually the most watched program in American television history. So more people watched Denver get their ass whooped than in any other thing in American history. So despite the blowout, this game was the most watched event in American history. Also, this Super Bowl is also the most talked about discussion on Twitter, as more people talk about this game on Twitter than any other thing else in the history of social media. That's how much of an ass whooping was. People were so surprised about this ass whooping they had to talk about it on Twitter. Like, everybody just tweeting in like, damn, you see that Super Bowl, man? Denver got the ass whooped. And the surprising thing about the Super Bowl too is that Seattle were the underdogs, but you couldn't tell by watching the game. So about it, man, what your thoughts on Super Bowl 48, man? This ass whooping that Seattle laid on Denver. They laid the smack down on that Rudy Poo candy asses. Well, yeah. If you root for the underdogs like me and you normally typically do, or if you're a Seattle Seahawks fan, yeah, it was a good game. You know, because I think what surprised everybody, like I said, is that Denver were the favorites, Seattle was the underdogs. Nobody was giving Seattle a chance to win this game because Seattle had the Denver had the number one offense. They set all these offensive records during the course of the season, and everybody thought that Denver was going to run right through Seattle. But Seattle proved that Legion of Boom defense ain't no joke, and they laid the smackdown on Denver in that game and just blew them out. And I don't know why everybody picked Denver, because like I said, we saw the same thing happen 11 years earlier in 2002 when you had the number one offense, the Oakland Raiders, taking the number one defense, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. In that game, Tampa Bay whooped Oakland's ass. But even Tampa Bay didn't whoop Oakland's ass as much as bad as what Seattle did to Denver. No, the score was 43-8.
Yeah, that's bad, man. Don't get no better than that, man.
So the only thing that was worse was Super Bowl 24 between the 49ers and the Broncos back in 1989. San Francisco beat Denver 55-10. That's the only thing that was worse than this game right here. And Peyton Manning was MVP, man. He couldn't do shit in this game. They made Peyton Manning look like a scrub. No, too bad the Legion of Boom didn't do that to Tom Brady in last year's Super Bowl. Well, it was Tom Brady. His strategy in the Super Bowl last year against Seattle was to throw, short passes, just dink and dunk his way, down the field. Peyton Manning, he thought he was going to, throw deep on Seattle, and he couldn't. And to me, what set the tone of the game, I'll never forget it. They tried to, Denver ran a pick play, and Peyton Manning threw a slant to Demaryius Thomas. And I just remember Cam Chancellor, as soon as he caught it, man, Cam Chancellor knocked him the fuck out. Just knocked him out. And that set the tone of the game. And after the game, players from Seattle was like, yeah, man, Denver, they didn't want it. They were afraid of us. Yeah. Yeah, so man, it was just a blowout. It was a straight up blowout. And also too, man, Seattle, they became the first West Coast team to win the Super Bowl since the Denver Broncos won it in 1997. I take it back, 1998 when they beat Atlanta. And so Seattle was the first West Coast team to win the championship since Denver won the championship back in 1998. So Seattle was representing the West Coast. But then again, that record was bound to be broken anyway. They played Denver, and Denver's also a West Coast team. But are you surprised as I am about in that fact that despite the fact that this game was a blowout, that it was still the highest watched event in American history? Yeah, I mean, I understand that, but I mean, like this. I mean, we ain't talking about. Well, no, I think what surprises me is like, cause like this is not the highest rated Super Bowl. This is the highest rated show on American history. Like in the history of the United States, in the history of TV, more people watch this game than anything else in American history. And it just surprises me because this game was a blowout. Like you would think, after being down 36-0 at halftime, the people just like, fuck, we just watch something else. So they just kept watching this. Just kept watching Denver just take dick in the ass and shit. Yeah, Peyton Manning, they were all over Peyton Manning because they molested Peyton Manning. So if that was in a football game, and Seattle would have been charged with assault. All right, man. So there you have it, man. 2013 Super Bowl 48. So we'll do the same thing next week, man. We'll see what what Super Bowl rematches NFL has, this upcoming week. So this upcoming week, they're gonna have a Super Bowl rematch with the Colts with the Colts and the Bears, and the Rams and the Titans. Now the Broncos Seahawks Super Bowl, they had that rematch yesterday, but we're talking about it today. So like I said, man, throughout this season, the NFL to celebrate the 50-year anniversary, we're gonna have different rematches, and throughout the season, we're gonna recap them, go back to memory lane. Like I said, last week, for the younger generations, a history lesson. For the older generation, down memory lane. Even though 2006 and 2013 really wasn't all that long ago. Maybe 99 was going down memory lane. 2006 and 2013, that's like that happened yesterday.
Yesterday. But tell me this, since we talking football, man, what they gonna do with my boy Ray Rice, man? What they gonna do with Ray Rice?
With Ray Rice, right now the Cleveland Browns are looking at him. The coach of the Cleveland, after the Browns preseason game the other day, the coach of the Browns was not impressed at all with the 3 running backs that played in that game. The coach said that the running backs, right now the Browns are trying to figure out who's going to be their starting running back for the season. And after the way the running backs played in the preseason game a couple days ago, the coach said that obviously all 3 running backs really don't want the job. So they're looking at signing Ray Rice. So, hopefully, if the running backs keep playing like ass, then maybe Ray Rice will become a Cleveland Brown.
That's all right, man. That's all right. What about Michael Vick? What they gonna do with Vick?
We don't know, because right now, no team wants him. Maybe you can look at his age discrimination or what, I don't know. But Michael Vick, is 35, 8, 25. And teams ain't really looking at him right now.
It was the slate game. It was Tom Brady.
They had their court case on August 12th, and pretty much the judge is pretty much trying to pressure both sides to agree on a settlement, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. So they're going to go back to court again on the 19th, and we'll see how it all plays out.
Tom trying to beat the system, man.
Oh yeah, like you said, man, he's trying to do this for quote unquote future generations. So they don't have to go through. He's going through and act like he Martin Luther King or something. Now I'm doing this for y'all. And all these kids that want to play football, play the NFL, I'm doing this for y'all. Now, so you want to go through what I'm going through. Tom Brady, he Jesus or something. He's dying for his sins. Tom Brady really didn't play that good in the preseason game the other day.
He wasn't playing that good?
Nah, not really, but just preseason can't really take much off of it. Then again, like I keep saying, he is 38 years old. At some point, he's going to slow down. Get closer to 40.
Yeah, Rice played all the way up to about 43 years old.
Yeah, but he wasn't that good. And once he hit 40, man, he wasn't that great. He was just playing on borrowed time. That's why towards the end of his career, he just kept going from team to team to team because ain't nobody really wanted him. That motherfucker 40.
He's a great wide receiver.
Oh yeah. Ain't no question about that. He's in the Hall of Fame for a reason. All right, Battle Man, before we get out of here, man, what's your final shots off for today?
My final shots off, this is going to be, I don't mean to make anybody angry. My shots out is the Black Lives Matter. And I would like to just, state my opinion on what I've seen. Keep the peace. That's all I'm gonna tell y'all. Just keep the peace and stay positive in everything that y'all do. What y'all do right now is going to decide on the future of tomorrow. So what true enough, we do have injustice, but think about the actions. You know, jumping in front of politicians, that's not gonna get it.
And rioting is not gonna get it either.
Rioting is not gonna get it either. You know.
And and none of that, but also be smart about it. Because I feel like a lot of problem with this Black Lives Matter thing is that a lot of it's misguided. And you want to blame white people for everything, but the issue, in my opinion, is not white people; it's us. We need to fix what's going on with us first before we worry about what's going on with white people.
And I just would like to say, it's good to have some type of unity. It's always good to unify, but let's drive in the right direction, and let's not be destructive in what we do. Let's leave a history, a legacy of peace versus violence, because you got to understand, we got these children, we got these babies, and they got to live in this world tomorrow. So what your actions that happen today going to affect your children for tomorrow, and we want our children, all life matters. American life matters, U.S. citizens' life matters, human life matters, instead of just black life matters. Because we all in this thing called life together, and we all go through trials and tribulations together. We all grow old together. And that's one thing that unifies us, is that we living in this time. And I don't want my children, I don't want our children to live in a time of unrest and racial divide. I would like everybody to unite and come together. And shouts out to America, shouts out to London, Canada, shouts out to Canada, shouts out to Italy, and shouts out to the United States and everybody else, Mexico, all over the world, man. Whoever listening, shouts out to y'all. We appreciate y'all viewership, and love, peace, and him about enough.
Well, my shout out today goes to the Baltimore Ravens wide receiver Steve Smith. A lot of you probably remember him when he was with the Panthers. But as Steve Smith announced during a few days ago, during the week, but Steve Smith was about to enter his 15th season in the NFL. He announced this week that this will be his last year. That he's going to retire at the end of the season. So, shouts out to Steve Smith. Not a lot of people make it, last 15 years in this league, and for you to be playing for 15 years, shouts out to you. And hopefully, you can end your career like Jerome Bettis and Ray Lewis, and walk out with a Super Bowl. So I'll be paying close attention to the Baltimore Ravens this year and see how Steve Smith does. I still think the Carolina Panthers did you dirty by cutting you, saying that you're too old, and you proved last year that you're not too old, as you did your thing last year with Baltimore. Hope you do your thing again this year. So shouts out to Steve Smith, and yeah, man. Hopefully you end your career on the right note. So shouts out to Steve Smith. And as always, man, you can follow us on Twitter at @ExpectedAnt. We're on Tumblr, also at @ExpectedAnt. So you can make sure you subscribe to us on iTunes. You can subscribe to us on YouTube at Ant Weezy. So that is it for today. We'll be back next week. In the meantime, have a great week. I'm out. See you next week.
Out.
They'll never take me alive. I'm getting high with my 4-5. Copped on these suckers, time to die. Even as a youngster, causing ruckus on the back of the bus. I was a fool all through high school, kicking up dust. But now I'm labeled as a troublemaker. Who can you blame? Smoking weed help me take away the pain. So I'm hopeless, rolling down the freeway, swerving. Don't worry, I'm about to crash upon the curb, cause my vision's blurry. Maybe if they tried to understand me, what should I do? I had to feed my fucking family. What else could I do but be a thug? I'm slanging with the homies, fuck hanging with them phonies in the club. Got my mind on danger, never been a stranger to homicide. My city's full of gangbangers and drive-bys. Why do we die? Had a
name is Logic. If you don't know by now, I'm always on my grind. And at this moment in time, I'm on the road. But I write this rhyme sitting behind Raheem Devon while he's passed out. About to hit the station for our gas is out. Look outside the window, I see shorties with their asses out. Oh my, good guys, you know we fly. They dreaming out the window, watch our buildings pass me by. See, I ain't signed, but at this point in time, I'm feeling like the 368 wonder of the world. Just my steal girl, all I do is rhyme and get money. That's my repertoire. Holla at honeys, voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir? Baby, what's the deal? Have you ever heard of some shit so real?
Cuddy, what up?
It's going down, feeling like a millionaire, riding with the top down, while the rest of the world just stares.
All I do is rhyme, all I do is get this money, all I do is grind. Play shows and chill with honeys, all I do is shine. Tour the world, ain't it funny, I'm one of a kind. All I do is rhyme, all I do is get this money, all I do is grind. Play shows and chill with honeys, all I do is shine. Tour the world, ain't it funny, I'm one of a kind.
Yeah, this is the joint that when you hear it, you like, that's my shit. Maybe at a house party while you getting lit, or while you cruising around town riding in a whip. One thing's for sure, you better get all of your friends hit. If a shorty like my music, then she a got a booty, know how to use it, homie, yes, I rocks her. The second I jump on the stage, I'm rocking it. Ain't nobody stopping it. Whoever goes on after me, I'm sorry, you ain't topping it. It's going down, feeling like a millionaire, riding with the top down, while the rest of the world just stares.
All I do is rhyme, all I do is get this money, all I do is grind. Play shows and chill with honeys, all I do is shine. Tour the world, ain't it funny, I'm one of a kind. All I do is rhyme, all I do is get this money, all I do is grind. Play shows and chill with honeys, all I do is shine. Tour the world, ain't it funny, I'm one of a kind.
Ever since I was a youngin', I knew I'd break in the game. While you worshipped other rappers that leave you less entertained, I was strategizing before the people knew my name. Fame, but I attain on the road to success. Bumping J in the HOV lane, searching for wisdom in women, but only getting brain. Yo quiero dormir contigo, mi amorcito. I know we fight, but that's poquito. Unless you do me foul like a free throw, then we finito.
All I do is rhyme, all I do is get this money, all I do is grind. Play shows and chill with honeys, all I do is shine. Tour the world, ain't it funny, I'm one of a kind. All I do is rhyme, all I do is get this money, all I do is grind. Play shows and chill with honeys, all I do is shine. Tour the world, ain't it funny, I'm one of a kind.